Good evening, Jovanna.
Good evening.
Everyone, this is Jovanna, Bedford-based, an ex-semi-professional tennis player, and currently teaching tennis now to uprising tennis players,
Yes.
and also a singer-songwriter. And we're going to delve straight in. So when I asked you to be on this podcast, you said straight away, of course, I speak to people about mental health all the time. I know this is a broad question, but can you elaborate on what you discuss or what you speak about with regards to mental health?
Yeah, so I love to, straight away when meeting people, I love to have that open conversation on if they've done work on themselves and what kind of work they've done on themselves, whether they've just done it by themselves, they've done therapy, because I feel like you really delve deep into a person, knowing if they've done that work or not, whether they're self-aware or not, just because I know from experience, hurt people.
Yeah, true.
And therefore,
facts.
it's kind of like a protection for me as well. So
Yeah.
if I know that you're good, you know, I'm good as well.
Yeah.
But then I also love, for the people that I love and care about, I love to check in on them as well.
Okay.
So it's a open conversation always.
So do you do that? Do you kind of look for therapy to go through therapy or self-help kind of? We were talking about Tony Robbins, weren't we? Yeah, so you were.
Yeah. I dabble. I do a little bit here and there.
How was the Tony Robbins? Is it a conference?
It was kind of like a course / conference thing that he did. It was free. It was on Facebook. It's not there anymore, but he does it every January if anyone's interested.
Yeah. But how did you find it? Was it quite
It was
helpful?
Good. It was very helpful in that we don't realize a lot of habits that we have.
Oh, okay.
And we don't realize what we could do to change them. And it's little things that you don't really think about on a daily basis that you could do that make the biggest change that have helped me in just the last 2 weeks massively.
Really? In 2 weeks? You can make a change in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
It's crazy. Like, I went from sleeping in till like 12 o'clock, 1 p.m. to now every morning. Still not early, but I wake up at like 8 a.m.
Oh, okay.
You know, and I'm going to the gym and things like that. And I'm like, I've got a lot I need to get done anyway. Yeah. But, you know, I've gotten up and I'm doing the work.
So it's habits. You can change your habits.
Yeah.
And it's just through different actions, through different tools that you can do it. Definitely. And do you have any tools that you can share that have helped you?
Yeah. So one of the things that really helped me was Tony Robbins was saying, if you want to change anything in your life, there's 3 things that you need to do. And the steps that you need to go in is first you need to change your state. So you change where you are at mentally, how you're feeling, you check in with yourself and how you are. Yeah. And then you change your story. So you're like, for instance, for mine, I was ex-tennis player. I was depressed. I did have anxiety. And now changing that story to I am now a singer-songwriter, a tennis coach. I am now positive person. I am now, you know, taking depressed out of my vocabulary, taking stress out of my vocabulary. And then having a strategy, then you can think about a strategy on how to get to it. But until you change those 2 things, you know, you're always going to slip up. You're going to have strategies, but you're going to start the first week. And then because your state's not there, you're just going to fall into bad habits.
Okay, so it's kind of like self-affirmations. Yeah. So you've got to tell yourself, I am. And that will feed into your everyday life.
You've got to check up on yourself always.
And why, if you don't mind me asking, why did you go to the Tony Robbins convention or have therapy, or what was the reason behind it?
Well, originally I went to therapy 5 years ago.
Okay.
Just because the way I was going through it, I know in general I've gone through a lot in life anyway. I knew that. And I felt like if I just kept going on autopilot, I realized that I was hurting people who didn't deserve to be hurt.
Okay.
Not in big ways. Yeah. But I was still hurting them because I didn't know who I was and I didn't know what I wanted. Okay. And therefore I took the step to go to therapy to heal myself. Okay. I'm still not perfect. I've made mistakes.
Yeah, no one's perfect. Yeah.
I try every day to kind of take everything I've learned and try to be a better person. Thanks to that, help myself so I can help other people.
Oh, fantastic. And how did you find therapy? Did that help you?
For me personally, it helped. I was really lucky that the first therapist that I got, she was amazing and she was really there for me. It was very understanding and explaining everything, so I really understood where I was at and where I needed to be and what I needed to do to get there.
And did you find it easy to go to the therapist initially?
Not entirely, you know, because I've always been the type of person where I was like, I could do it by myself. I don't need anyone else. But then I started realizing one thing that helps me talking with people is realizing if we were meant to be on this world alone and to deal with things alone, we would be. There wouldn't be billions of people on this earth if we were supposed to do everything by ourselves.
Yeah.
We're not.
Yeah, that's
we weren't
true.
created to do things by ourselves. But the way society is driven, it's all about focus on yourself, you know, do everything by yourself. And that's why we all fall into those headspaces where we're like, I don't know what to do, but then we don't know who to go to either, because we don't trust anyone and we think we need to do it all by ourselves, but we don't. We don't.
Wow. And do you know, that kind of that feeds into kind of, because I'm not a tennis player, and I don't really follow the support. I do follow sport and I do enjoy sport, but I'm not an avid tennis fan.
I don't follow it either.
Oh.
I don't watch a single game. Don't get it twisted. I just played it. I don't actually watch it.
But then to play in, it is an isolated sport.
Yeah.
So you are playing it by yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly. So when we were just talking about, you have to kind of rely on other people, ask other people for help. It's in a sport where you're kind of quite isolated. It must be quite difficult. Yeah.
It is. Well, it is for that hour when you're by yourself playing a match, or that hour or 2, 3, however long it is. But what people need to realize as well, outside of the court, to make it, you need people. You need the support. The issue with my career, it was because on court I was by myself, and off court I was also by myself. So realistically, there was no way of me making it mentally. Yeah, I'm surprised I ain't insane.
Oh, really?
To be honest, because I was by myself constantly. Really. So off the court, it's important. You know, you've got your parents there to support you. You've got your coaches, your nutritionists, your fitness coaches. You know. Yeah. And
did you feel like there was pressure on you to win the games? So
yeah, definitely, because money is being thrown into it. So if you're not winning, that's money being thrown away.
And how did that affect your mental health?
Not great.
No.
Just because I'm the type of person where I don't want to. I still struggle with it to this day. I don't want to disappoint people.
Okay.
So for me not winning matches and stuff like that, it was me disappointing my parents.
Okay.
You know, me disappointing people who believed in me.
Yeah.
So it was very heartbreaking every time I couldn't win a match. I was just a disappointment constantly. So that just kind of took a toll until I just went. But
so would you say to your students? Would you call them students?
Yeah.
Do you say to them kind of? What would you say to them for them to make it in tennis, for them to ensure they have a good support base?
Yeah.
It's imperative.
It is important to have a good support base, and important to know that you're doing it for the right reasons.
Okay.
You're doing it for the love of the sport.
Okay.
Because it's one of those things where if you're not doing it for the love of the sport, you won't make it.
Okay.
Because it is a brutal industry.
Yeah.
Like, I know, like, singing stuff, like, everything is a brutal industry, but tennis, as a woman particularly as well, is a brutal industry.
Wow. Because you see, like, tennis players like Serena Williams, she took a break out for her mental health.
Yeah.
And so did Naomi Osaka take a break for her mental health as well. And they're both female, obviously. Mm-hmm. But on the flip side, there was another tennis player, Nick. I've forgotten his surname. Nick. I can't. Yeah. I can't pronounce it. But he was actually suicidal and self-harmed because of the sport. Well, I don't know if it's because of the sport, but he was going through his own depressive state and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Social media doesn't have it at all help in hand at the moment, but it might back in the day when there wasn't social media, it probably was a lot different. It would have been a lot different, but nowadays to have that pressure of if you'd fail, then you've
just got a whole fan base,
not even just a whole fan base, a whole country, and
you know,
and
the world, really.
and people that aren't fans, which is even worse, you know, like the trolls and stuff like that. So that can
love it.
They love it. They feed off it. So that's crazy. But So a study shares that 42% of professional athletes met the criteria for at least one mental health disorder. This is a huge percentage. How do you think athletes could be better supported with their mental health? So we have discussed that. So you said that being around people that support you. Is there any other?
I think that when they go in the sport initially and when they do start competing from teenage years, I think they need a therapist.
Oh, really?
At least weekly, they need a therapist.
Really? Do you think
100%.
everyone needs a therapist?
Yeah.
Oh.
100%. 100%.
Did you? Yeah, sorry. Go on.
Sorry.
No.
Because there is, like, life is hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's hard. And not everyone has the support system of, like, a family of 5.
Yeah.
Or not everyone has parents that are there to be there all the time because they might be working or they don't have a good relationship with them, and there's always something.
Yeah.
And I feel like no matter what or where you are in life, even if you have the perfect life, you don't.
No.
There's always something. And I think it's really beneficial to have a therapist. Just to, like, we go to the doctors to check up on, like, our bloods and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I feel like that should be a mandatory thing with therapy.
Yeah.
To go check on our minds, because it influences our work.
Yeah.
Therefore, that influences other people.
Yeah.
Influences our relationship. Influences other people.
Yeah.
It influences everything.
Yeah. And
So
you're also not relying on your family as such, so you can share your secrets, you can share your problems, you can share.
Because the therapists don't care.
Yeah, they don't.
I mean, they care, but it doesn't affect their life.
Yeah, it doesn't affect their lives.
Like, if you say, like, I'm suicidal, they're not going to be like, oh my God, now I'm suicidal because
Yeah,
you're suicidal.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
like, okay, let me help you through this.
Yeah, and in America, they do have therapists as a, like, it's very common, isn't it? In America,
Yeah.
it's a common thing. So hopefully it branches out. And the more we talk about mental health, like, you being here is absolutely amazing. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
And speaking about mental health and raising awareness is fantastic. So the more we speak about it, the more we get it to the forefront of the topics of discussion in society, then the more people are going to be out like, yeah, actually I do need a therapist. Yeah, I do need to go to Tony Robbins convention and, you know, like, yeah, just and seek out support. So we mentioned before that you, when we well, I don't know if we've actually mentioned, we have mentioned it before, but you have you do have ADHD, is that right? Do you mind, or
I'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I have had a podcast with someone with ADHD before, but it's always beneficial and it's always great to have a different viewpoint. So what is ADHD to you? What would you describe it as?
So for me, it's kind of like my brain is never switched off.
Okay.
Like, there's always a million things going on. Like, I could be coaching and I'm writing song lyrics in my head, or I'm coaching and I'm thinking about what I'm gonna make for dinner, or like what happened 5 days ago. Like, or like I'll be even like talking to you, like I'll be talking to you and I'll be thinking about like my tennis career. There's just like random, like there's always some type of thoughts in my head constantly going on. And that's why, like, when I have conversations with people where I'm able to like branch off and have billions of conversations and still be able to like understand every single conversation and answer every single like, if you ask me 100 questions right now that didn't have anything to do with each other, I could just go blah 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 blah.
Whoa.
It's weird.
Can it be controlled?
Through like, so I've been told, because I have one of my friends, she's 10 years older than me, so she's obviously been alive a lot longer, and she's got ADHD. Through like yoga helps a lot. Meditation, and I feel like just in general, like self-discipline. Kind of having that focus and writing down is really important. Writing down what you want to do through the day. Because then it keeps you on track with what you're doing, rather than like, I'll be like, I need to clean my room, but then I'll be like doing 100 other things and not clean my room. So
that's really good advice though. That's really beneficial. So anyone who's listening and watching and feels like they might have ADHD because they've got those symptoms, to write things down, to kind of just to meditate, to do yoga, they're all positive things that you can do to help. It's
just like a calming thing to calm your brain, to slow down a little bit.
Would you ever take medication, just out of interest?
I personally wouldn't. I just feel like I'm the type of person where if I did, I'd be addicted.
Oh, okay.
You know, and
Yeah.
I'd rely on it.
Oh, okay.
Whereas I'd rather rely on myself
Yeah.
and things I can do naturally.
Okay.
I think there's nothing wrong with taking medication.
Yeah.
And I feel like if that's what helps you, that's what helps you.
Yeah, everyone's different.
Yeah, like I definitely feel like there's like my friends and stuff, they do take medication and things like that. It works for some people. I don't think it would work for me personally.
Yeah.
But you know, if you know you're being told to take it, I would recommend take it if you're being told to take it.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
And you also have suffered from depression.
Mm-hmm.
That's right as well. So what's depression to you?
For me, it was like the days were going, but I was like still the same.
Okay.
Like everything was monotone. Like I was just going through the cycles of every single day with like my life going absolutely nowhere. Like I couldn't really get out of bed. Like I had to really like force myself to get out of bed. Like it was just an ongoing battle. And just to do normal things like wash dishes or make food to eat. Yeah. Like I would eat one meal a day, which I would not recommend. Don't do that.
Okay. Yeah.
Don't do it. And things like that. It's just self-care. Like self-care was not there. Like I did not care because my life wasn't going anywhere. So I thought there's no point of me doing anything.
Okay. Yeah. And what kind of helped you to get out of that spell?
So, like, with me throughout my life, it's kind of been like this. So, it's like I've had it, and then I've come out, and then I've had it, and I've come out. But the way I've always kind of come out is finding a new purpose. Oh, okay. So, finding a reason, starting with the first thing, finding a reason to get up in the morning. Yeah. So, that's the first step. Find a reason to get up in the morning. And then once you've done that, you just do little things, small things that, you know, kind of give you a purpose to be. Okay. And then as you do those small little things, you slowly start making a purpose and then finding what interests you, you know, seeing friends more. But that's the thing, it genuinely is little steps and it won't all come at once. It will not come at once. It's taken me years. But you just got to be patient. Yeah. And did you recognize that you were in the spell when you were? No. Okay. No, it was only when I kind of came towards getting out of it. I was like, oh, okay. And that was rough. Oh, well. And then now you can recognize when you go back into the spell and then because I know the what's the word? The signs or the triggers? Yeah, like the signs and the triggers. Like once I start like not cleaning my room or once I start not eating properly, then I'm like, yeah, okay. No. Yeah. But you, it's really how you're talking and kind of giving advice is really inspiring because it's like if you're going through a depressive state, anyone who's watching and feels like, even if you're not sure of how you're feeling, but you're in it's like you have a grey cloud. Yeah. It's like no matter what you do, you can't get out. Yeah, you just can't get out. But there is hope, and you can kind of through time and through patience and what we were saying before, possibly with the support of family and friends and therapists, networks, then there is hope that you can eventually kind of help get out of that stage. 100%. Yeah. So and also, do you you also sing a songwriter? I am. And brilliant one at that. And you play guitar, a bit of guitar as well, don't you? Yeah. So how's that going with your singing songwriting? Oh, at the moment I've had to take a little bit of a pause because I've had a lot going on behind the scenes. So I've had to pause it for a moment, but now I'm slowly coming out of it again. I'm gonna get back to it. Hopefully have spoke to a couple people and I might have a band soon, possibly. Oh my gosh, that's brilliant. Maybe put it out to the universe. Yeah, maybe. Put it in the universe. Do you believe in the universe? Oh, yeah. Oh, brilliant. Yeah. You know, you ask for what you want. Yeah, manifestation. Manifest fantastic. That stuff. Manifest. Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. And are you still writing? Or? Yeah. Okay. So I still write, like I said, like I'll just be doing things and I'll be like, oh my god, this would be a really good line. Okay. So my notes are just full of like lines or like little choruses or things like that, just full of notes. Okay. And you said before that to have when you feeling in a depressive state or
in general, it's
Mhm.
always good to have a purpose.
Yeah.
So do you feel like, I know you're having a break now, but
Mhm.
is music a purpose for you? Does
Yeah.
it help? Is it like a therapy as well?
Definitely, because the purpose behind my music has always been, because music for me is something what saved my life.
Oh, wow.
Hence why I've got a
That's
lyric
deep.
tattooed on me. Remember who you are.
Who you are.
Yeah.
Wow,
It's
that's
a
deep.
song, Who You Are by Jessie J.
Okay.
Pulled me out of some of the darkest moments of my life.
Really?
Yeah, like genuinely saved my life. As corny and cheesy as it sounds, it genuinely did. And that's why I did it at the gig. That is why I sang that song.
Okay. Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, I was like, I need to do that one as like a homage. Is that what the word is? Homage?
A homage.
Homage? Yeah. That one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what I want to do with my music is I want to make music that can also like reach people and you know get them out of situations that they don't think that they're ever going to be able to get out of.
That's deep. That's beautiful.
No.
And where can we hear your music? It's on Spotify, isn't it?
Yeah, on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, YouTube, all that biz.
Okay, brilliant. And you go by the name of Jovanna J.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
with a J in front as well.
Okay. So, for all the the viewers, the listeners, what would you kind of, just to end this podcast, what would you give advice? What's your main, throughout your journey? You've said you go from ups and downs, and you have got ADHD. You have suffered from depression. What have you learnt the most about mental? This is a very big question, but what have you learnt the most that you could leave the listeners and the viewers with?
I think the main thing is realizing that you are genuinely never alone, even in the moments when you think you are. You are never alone, and that it does get better. You know, I saw in those moments, you know, those corny stuff, it gets better, and I'd be like, yeah, whatever. Because in that moment, you don't see it.
No, yeah.
You don't see a way out. You don't see a reason to live. You don't see. But genuinely, if you just keep going, just keep surviving as long as you can, you will get to that point where you will start living. It might take, you know, a couple months, might take years. Like it took me years, but you will start living. But just, you need to have that belief in yourself.
Yeah.
That you will get out, you know. And, you know, I wanted to also add.
Oh, yeah.
For the things for people to know, because a lot of people when they are in depressive states, they don't realize things like their circle is something that massively impacts your circle, your relationships, who you're with, massively impacts where you're working, things like that. So things that, have a look at your life. Generally, sit down, write down everything in your life. You know, how you feel with these people, how you feel at this place, and then you will see what is making you feel that way, and then you can start planning. You know, it's hard, don't get me wrong. I've had to leave friendships where I've loved the people dearly, but they just weren't good for me. You know, you have to leave because you have to do it for you. You know, you can be a good person and still you have that self-respect to leave.
Wow, that's
so
deep. That's really, how you talk, everything you've said is so inspiring, because it's like you're speaking from experience. So it's like it's a lived experience. And I know better than someone who's been through it to give advice that no matter what you're going through, if you're going through a hard time, as Jovanna said, keep going and you will see the light. You will see the light.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.